Before you decide someone is cold, heartless, or emotionally unavailable, let me ask you one uncomfortable question. What if emotional detachment isn't the absence of feelings, but the result of feeling too much for too long? Stay with that thought for a moment, because emotionally detached people are often misunderstood. They're labeled distant, unloving, robotic, or even dangerous in relationships. People assume they don't care. But psychology tells a very different story, one that's quieter, deeper, and far more human than most people realize. This isn't a story about villains or broken people. This is a story about survival. Imagine a child who learned very early that emotions were not safe. Every time they expressed sadness, they were ignored. Every time they showed excitement, it was dismissed. Every time they trusted, they were disappointed. Over time, the brain does what it's designed to do best. It adapts. It doesn't ask for permission. It doesn't wait for adulthood. It simply rewires. Emotional detachment is not something people choose one morning. It forms slowly, quietly, almost invisibly. It's a psychological shield built layer by layer, experience by experience, loss by loss. And here's the part most people never talk about. Emotionally detached people often feel deeply. They just don't show it. Their silence isn't emptiness. It's containment. In psychology, emotional detachment is often linked to avoidant attachment styles, emotional numbing, and defensive coping mechanisms. But labels don't capture the lived experience. What actually happens inside these individuals is far more complex. They learn early that depending on others leads to pain, so they become self-reliant to a fault. They don't ask for help. They don't share vulnerability. Not because they're strong, but because vulnerability once cost them. Too much, you'll notice something interesting about emotionally detached people. They are often calm in crises. When others panic, they think. When others collapse, they function. This isn't because they don't feel fear or sadness. It's because they learned to shut those emotions down when survival required it. The brain, under repeated emotional stress, can reduce emotional reactivity as a protective strategy. This is known as emotional suppression or emotional numbing. It's not permanent damage. It's temporary armor that becomes habitual. Over time, that armor starts to feel like identity. They may struggle with intimacy, not because they don't want closeness, but because closeness feels dangerous. Emotional closeness requires exposure. Exposure requires trust, and trust for them has a history of betrayal. So instead of opening up, they analyze feelings instead of feeling them. They talk about emotions in logical terms. They stay in their heads because their hearts learn to stay guarded to the outside world. This looks like indifference. Inside, it's constant control. Emotionally, detached people often believe that if they allow themselves to feel fully, they will lose control. Crying feels unsafe. Depending on someone feels weak. Love feels like a liability. This mindset doesn't come from arrogance. It comes from repetition. When emotional expression leads to punishment, neglect, or chaos, the brain associates emotion with danger. Another misunderstood trait is their need for distance. They may disappear during emotional moments. They may withdraw when conflict arises. This isn't avoidance for comfort. It's avoidance for regulation. Distance helps them breathe. It restores a sense of safety. Psychologically, this is known as deactivation. When emotions rise, the nervous system shuts down, connection to reduce overwhelm. It's the opposite of emotional outbursts. It's emotional freeze. Interestingly, many emotionally detached individuals are highly functional. In society, they succeed in careers. They handle responsibility well. They appear independent and composed. But success often comes at a cost. They may feel empty without knowing why. Life feels muted. Joy feels distant. Even achievements feel hollow. This isn't depression. It's disconnection from emotional reward systems. And yet, deep inside, there is often a longing they don't talk about. They want connection. They want to feel safe with someone. They want to be understood without being exposed, but wanting something doesn't mean knowing how to allow it. For older adults, Especially those over 50 or 60, emotional detachment often becomes normalized. In earlier generations, emotional expression was discouraged. Strength meant silence. Pain was private. Love was shown through duty, not words. So emotional detachment became cultural, not just personal. Many people lived entire lives believing this was just how they are, never realizing it was a learned response. Now here's the critical part. Emotional detachment is not permanent. The brain is plastic. It changes with safety, repetition, and trust. When emotionally detached individuals experience consistent, non-threatening connection, something slowly shifts. They may not suddenly become expressive. They may not cry openly or speak poetically about feelings, but they begin to soften. They listen differently. They stay present longer. They tolerate closeness without panic. Healing doesn't look dramatic. It looks subtle. It looks like staying instead of withdrawing. It looks like admitting confusion instead of silence. It looks like allowing someone to see uncertainty. And for those who love emotionally detached people, understanding is everything. Pushing them to open up often backfires. Interpreting their distance as rejection deepens the wall. What helps is patience, predictability, and emotional safety. Consistency rewires expectations. Safety rewires. Response time rewires trust. Emotionally detached people are not unfeeling. They are cautious feelers. They learn to survive without depending on emotional connection and forgot how to return. If you recognize yourself in this, know this. You are not broken. You adapted. An adaptation can be updated. The ability to feel deeply never left. It was simply put away for protection. And when the environment changes, the nervous system can learn again. Slowly, quietly, humanly. Because emotional detachment is not the absence of emotion. It's the memory of pain and the hope that someday, feeling safe, might return.